Welcome to I Love My HBCU ? The podcast where we express our undeniable love for HBCUs, but where we are also not afraid to address a few tough questions. So, sit back, learn a little, love a lot, and rep your HBCU. Hello, everybody watching and listening to us. This is this week's episode of I Love My HBCU ? I literally almost had like a brain freeze. I've been having such a lovely conversation with Deja Rogers already from Bennett College in Greensboro, South Carolina. However, before we even delve right into it, I found out recently, Deja, you're from Baltimore. We are
Yeah.
located in Baltimore.
Oh,
Yes, you didn't know that. You didn't.
no.
Morgan State University is our academic home. Well, my academic home. I say our because our segment producers also are Morgan proud alum as well as students. So when we saw your bio, we're like, hold on. She's in Greensboro, North Carolina, but from Baltimore. I don't want you to tell me how you picked Bennett yet. I'm going to ask you that later.
Okay.
But how do you get from Baltimore to Greensboro, South Carolina?
I don't know. I wanted to be far away from Baltimore. Ever since I was younger. Because I was raised there. But I also knew that I didn't want to be too far away from my mom. She would absolutely decline that offer if I went across the country, but yeah, I'm here in North Carolina, over across from A&T. Yep.
Nice. So Deja, when you said that and you mentioned your mom, those who know me well know that when I was going to college and in undergrad, and I was applying from the Gambia specifically, and I had the option of either going to London, where my sister was at the time, and where I was raised. I was looking for schools as far as Singapore. So when you said, I love the way you enlarged your eyes, like, what is wrong with you? But it's so true. This is a true story. I wonder if I should have an episode where I literally just talk to the parents and ask them, when your child decided to accept at X, Y, and Z school, how did you feel based on how far the college was? But I'm glad that you still got to be close to home with family. You are a chemistry major. And I actually don't think we have had a STEM major, a current STEM major on the podcast yet. What is it about chemistry that you love so much, Deja?
It has to be. It started in honestly, it started at elementary school. I was introduced to astronomy, and I was like, oh, I just love astronomy. I was reading books. I was a know it all about the planets and everything. And then as I got older, I got into biology class, and I liked the physical aspect of it with the instructions and dissecting things, but I did not like the textbook work. And I thought it was boring. No disrespect to bio majors, love y'all down. But it was just a tad bit boring to me. And so when I got to chemistry class in high school, I seen that it had the math that I love. It had some projects that I can do, and I wanted a challenge. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do chemistry for college. Yep.
Wow. I was not good in sciences, so I applaud. I think it is okay to applaud those who decide to go in sciences. And I think it is okay, as somebody who was in the humanities, to say that it's a bit tougher. I don't think people like it. Those in the humanities, those who might be English majors or political science, I notice some of them feel a little like, what do you mean STEM is tougher? But it kind of is. It's why some of us chose not to go into STEM. What would you say, Deja, to a young person who is somewhat interested in the sciences and hasn't yet decided whether or not they should go into it? What would you say to them? And I'm going to say a young African American female specifically, a young African American woman specifically. What would you say to that young girl that you think might entice her to go forward into the sciences?
Yeah, I just had this conversation with a fresh woman here at Bennett about whether or not she wanted to continue in her bio degree, because she was kind of struggling in Gen Chem. But I was telling her that if she was actually passionate about her career goals, which would, I think she wanted to be in pharmacy or go to med school. And I was saying, if you are really passionate about that future, and if you're actually passionate about your major work, you have to also make sure that you put passion into those other classes that might be a pain in the butt. Um, it's so many things that a black woman can do in science, and it doesn't always have to be med school. It doesn't always have to be going to get a doctorate degree, because that's like the general selections that people would think that we should make, especially if we want to make a change, because of the amount of discrimination Black women have in the
Mm,
sciences. um and sometimes even I second guess myself and like, oh, should I just go to pharmacy school and not go into a master's program if I want to make an actual difference? But there's so many loopholes within careers that you can get up in the food chain. And
mm,
yeah, but with the challenging classes, I would say that it really all depends on whether or not you want to you want to see yourself in that degree. And you have to be real with yourself, because you can't push yourself that you burn out, and it's okay to back out if it gets to that point.
nice, nice. It is okay to back out if it gets to the point where it's a little bit too much for you. I think that's a message that should resonate regardless of whether or not you plan on going into STEM, or no matter what it is you plan on going to. It is okay to back out. What do you like most about your major?
Mm. I'm sorry. I think I like hmm I think I like the amount of curiosity people have about it, because when people ask me, "Oh, what is your major?" and I say chemistry, they be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. What are you doing with that?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay." Like, "Oh, I don't know. There's many things. I mean, I figured it out now, but like there's so many branches I can go into with chemistry. Like I can be in the government, I could be in uh Department of Justice. But I think that it's very interesting. It's a very interesting world, especially because people in chemistry are they're very closed off, but once you get to know them, they're actually cuckoo birds. Yeah.
So I'm laughing when you said cuckoo birds. I'm also really proud of knowing that you know what you're talking about. So when I say you know what you're talking about, I happen to know this. Of course, you already know this. What the audience does not know is that when you say that you, as a chemistry major, can find yourself in the Department of Justice and you rattle off these other places that you can find yourself in, it's because of the internships that you have exposed yourself to that has actually given you a bit more of a foundation, if you will, of the different types of things that you can get into. So I'm hoping anyone listening to you, especially, and hint, hint, I have a segment producer who is in college right now and is struggling with chemistry. Hint, hint. it doesn't have to box you in. It actually could be a door opener to other spaces, and not what people might actually think about chemistry. All right, I'm going to shift gears
Mm-hmm.
ever so slightly. I want to bless you with our 67 seconds. It's the rapid fire segment. I'm going to throw as many questions at you as possible, and you're going to give me, let's see what answers Deja is going to give me. Are you ready?
Yep.
Yes. She's like, am I sure I'm ready? Okay. All right, Deja. Deja, I want you to describe yourself in 3 words.
um, Erratic, innovative, and bubbly.
Erratic, innovative, bubbly. That's new. Erratic is new. What's the best meal at your HBCU?
Oh, fried chicken Wednesdays.
Fried chicken
Fried
and
chicken,
fried chicken
macaroni and
Wednesdays.
cheese. Yep. Yeah, they have cornbread. Sometimes they have baked beans, sweet potatoes, collard greens, cauliflower. Yep.
So we're just gonna call it Soul Food Wednesdays for you guys, and not just Fried Chicken Wednesdays. I love it. Okay, so Wednesdays gets another win. You're at your college graduation. Who do you want as your commencement speaker?
Oh my goodness, what's her name from Abbott Elementary? Um,
Brunson?
I forgot her name. She's the lead off of. Um, what's the actor's name?
Is
I
it
don't know.
it's oh gosh, this is embarrassing. I should know as well.
It's like Quintel.
Quinta
Not
Brunson.
Quintel.
Quinta
It's like
Brunson.
Yes, Quentin
Quinta
Brunson
Brunson.
or Tracy Ellis Ross.
Quinta
Yep.
Brunson. Tracy Ellis Ross did Spellman's at some point in time this year. If I'm no, she got an honorary degree. I listen, I think I'm getting it wrong, but I know she was at Spellman not too long ago. So it is quite believable that she might make it to your commencement. When are you graduating, Deja?
May 18th. Woo.
May 18th, 2024. Quinta Brunson, Tracy Ellis Ross. I hope they hear you. Okay, I've got 2 more questions for
Please.
you. She's like, please. Shout out your favorite professor or person at Bennett College.
I'm gonna have to give it to 2 people. Shout out to Dr. Sharon. She is my chemistry professor and mentor. And shout out to Dr. Moore. She has adopted me as a bio bell, even though I am a Kim Bell, and she has also helped me throughout my journey.
That is beautiful. Well, that wraps up our 67 seconds. I really love. No one's mentioned Quinta Brunson or Tracy Ellis Ross as a desired commencement speaker for their HBCU yet. So I love hearing the different persons that people pick as their desired commencement speaker. So I'm excited. Listen, I would come and root you for your commencement, your graduation, regardless. But if you tell me that Tracy Ellis Ross is going to be there, I will be picketing to make sure that I am there just to hear it as well. So that'll be amazing. All right, Deja,
Okay.
tell us the journey. How I know you did not want to be too far away from home with regards to how you ended up in Greensboro, South Carolina, but how did you pick Bennett College specifically? Because even if you were picking an HBCU, for example, in North Carolina's got a few of them. So how did Deja Rogers from Baltimore, Maryland, decide on Bennett College?
Yeah, so I went to Baltimore Leadership School for Young Women for middle and high school. Um, I've always, since it's such a small community, and it's literally 6th through 12th grade in one building, it's like a very big or small family. Like it's big and small at the same time. And so when I was looking at colleges, I knew that Maryland colleges was out of the question because I was tired of Maryland. And so I was looking at colleges in Florida, colleges in South Carolina, and North Carolina. And Bennett was had caught my eye because it was an all women's college, and I wasn't afraid of going to an all women's college since I've been to an all women's institution for about 7 years now. So I got to have a tour of Bennett, and it was like I always have this feeling when I tour campuses whether or not I felt safe or not. And when I got on campus, I felt very safe. And I was like, okay, this could be a home. This could be a place where I can grow. And all of the staff members that we had visited was very lovely. And they always, they're like little aunties. And that's when I made the decision to go to Bennett because of how they gave me a full ride.
Well, that would do it. The full ride. Well, you could have started with the full ride.
Yep.
The full ride will do it. I hear so. Of course, when most people pick their college choice, money has a lot to do with it. But the reality is that I hear it more and more with HBCUs and how many of us selected our HBCUs, which it's impossible then not to think about the cost of education nowadays, the college debt that some people are getting into, that I hope many more of us push, for example, for college debt relief for college students, but I'm biased, right? So I'm going to say for HBCU college students because it makes a big difference later on. So you could have just led with, I got a full ride to Bennett, and then everything else, because that will make the decision for most of us. Deja, thank you, first of all, for mentioning that you were not afraid to go to an all girls college, having been blessed with the opportunity of being in an all girls middle and high school. And the reason why I'm thanking you is women relationships get a bad rap, right? Um, Most of the time you hear of many of them wanting to be in co-ed spaces because I can't deal with these women. Mind you, we're women talking about each other saying we cannot deal with these women. Um, Bennett College being an all-girls school, what is that like for those of us who have not been lucky enough, right, to be in an all-girls college? This is a choice that you make to go to an all-girls college. What was it about that beyond your middle and high school experience? What was it about Bennett being an all-girls college that just gave you this warm, safe feeling? And how has that experience been like? Give us a peek.
Yeah, so well, since COVID hit, I was
COVID.
not on campus for 2 years. It's very annoying, actually. I felt like I missed out on a lot of experiences because of that. But as soon as I well, I was introduced to my friend group during sophomore year, because I had met one of my friends through a class, and she was talking about how they were in a friend group. And one of my high school friends, well, actually, one of my friends from the high school that I came from, and she's been there since sixth grade too, was also in that group chat. And I said, "Oh, like, okay, can I join?" It was like, "Yes." So we were talking since spring semester of sophomore year, and then when I moved on campus last year for junior year, it was like we just resumed life. Like we met each other multiple times. um, and it's a very it made it a very safe place for me, especially to be vulnerable and to become comfortable with myself. Bennett is known for having the students call each other sisters. So we also have a big and sister was it system. So we are assigned big sisters during our freshwoman year, and we have to robe them. We build a relationship with them or a bond. Sometimes you don't have to if you don't want to, but yeah, I know I'm good with my big sister. She was actually the 43rd Miss Bennett College, and I was able to give her her bell, and I was able to robe her for her graduation, and I've seen her graduation, and we still talk to this day. But yeah, Bennett has its perks when it comes to the drama, because women can be drama. But since we are growing and since we are maturing, we've learned that the drama can't last forever. Um, we just kind of been like, okay, if you're not cool with me, fine. We could go our separate ways and just treat it like business. Um, and yeah, that's basically how Bennett rolls.
Wow. And the wow part is born out of the tradition that I'm hearing that Bennett carries on from even I even smiled when I heard fresh women as opposed to what all of us normally would just say freshmen. I like the fact that it sounds as if there's just been a space that has been created for this group of women to thrive, but thrive in a real way. Because I hear you talk about the drama, thrive in a good way. I was as I was listening to you, I couldn't help but remember there was a one of our guests on the podcast have been the Vontel brand, which is an eyewear brand that was started by two best friends, and they met in college, and 30 years later they are in this business together. And you talk about your friend group, and I smiled when you talked about your friend group as well. Give us one word or one phrase, it doesn't have to be a word, give us your thoughts actually on what makes a good friend, and especially at this undergraduate collegiate level, what makes a good friend?
Hmm. uh, it's so many words. I think communication. Communication is the biggest word of all. I think if you've talked out your problems and actually communicated on the same level and be authentic with each other, then a bond can really go far.
Yeah.
Some people are scared to communicate with each other because they think that it will be judgmental, but if it's a true friendship, that won't be a problem.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wow. Okay. Communication, guys, from Deja's lips to all of our ears. Good friendships, especially good girl friendships, are based on communication. Thank you for that as well. What does HBCU culture mean to you? And you've discussed a lot of the traditions that I'm jealous of at Bennett College, to be extremely honest with you. But what does HBCU tradition mean to you?
Um, I think it's pretty amazing. It's honestly something that I'm still new to because of the fact that um I don't really like I'm the first I'm the first person to go to a HBCU from my family. My mom has a she has 2 degrees from Baltimore City Community College, but I'm like the first one to go to a 4 year college, and
Hmm.
so getting the HBCU experience is kind of like overwhelming at times because they want to go big, and I'm just like, oh, okay. Um, and I also like it's even when I was younger, freshwoman year, um, I was looking on TikTok and I was seeing like the marching bands, and I would get goosebumps just watching them. Like, wow, like I want to be on that because I've like in high school I was in our band, but since COVID hit, I didn't. Um, and I just love the culture. I love how everybody acts like they know each other. Like everyone's is everyone cousin. Everyone hugs each other if you don't know them, and you can just start a conversation while eating fried chicken while you're at Jiho. So I just love how everyone can just come together and not like judge one another and just have fun. Yeah.
It to me, you're describing a sense of familiarity even if you don't know the person. It's just familiar
Yeah.
because I love that. I love that. I'm curious to we had Keyshawn Forbes on the podcast, Emmy Award winning mega host, and he said that he is desperate to see all of these traditions not die and all of these cultures not die. So I hope this encourages, just listening to what you just said, I hope this encourages all of us to continue to be familiar with one another at HBCUs, speak to one another. Don't necessarily wait to always be invited, because I think social media is making more and more of us kind of like stay within ourselves. But especially for current students, it's okay to speak to a stranger on campus and say hello. You never know what kind of relationships might grow from there. It sounds to me, Deja, that Bennett College gets so many things right, like so many things right. I could rattle off a few things from just listening to you, but I want you to give me two things that you know Bennett College just gets right. What are those two things?
And make sure is that they treat their fresh women right. They treat their fresh women right. They do them right. Yeah, they spoil them actually. Their welcome week is just they just do it for them. And we also we also are activists. And so they let us be activists. Um, they applaud us for being activists because of our history. Bennett College was the first um, all women's HBCU. And since we are right across the street from A&T, we also helped with the Greensboro Fort. We were the ones that were planning the Greensboro Fort, and since black men were more suitable to be able to protest more than black women, we were in the back in the chairs writing the plans down so that the Greensboro Fort can sit on those four benches. So, hair flip, we can do
I love that.
we can do activism right, and they let us when we need to.
Nice.
We also just did a protest for mental health, and
Mm.
yeah, on our campus because we needed it, and yeah, yep, they let us do what we
Deja,
need to
I
do.
wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting that. But it hit home. What Bennett College gets right, they spoil their fresh women. So I know that sounds simple, but it's not simple. It really isn't, because if you go to somebody's house, right, Deja, and they don't make you feel welcome, you don't want to come back again, right? But if you go to somebody's house and they make you feel welcome, there's something about the way you're going to speak of that person's house, which tells me that after you graduate, Bennett College is always going to live in your heart. You are graduating soon, but you're still talking about Fresh Woman Year and how they made you feel special. So it sounds light, but it's not light. So that's the first thing I'm taking from you. The second thing I'm taking from you that I wasn't expecting you to say is they let you just be activists, which makes me have a follow up question for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you and I can be honest, and Deja, you and I have been very honest with each other even before we hit record, so I love you for that. When it comes to activism, politics in the United States of America, and then let's bring this back to African Americans, in this particular case, African American women, is it fair to say that there's an expectation of what one would be fighting for or what one would be an activist for? Which makes me ask the follow up question: are you in your activism role that Bennett College clearly, according to you, gets right? Is it allowed to be varied? So, if, for example, and everyone's going to be like, Tosin, are you a Republican? You keep on bringing Republicanism. I just intentional. If, for example, Deja wanted to have something. Let's say Deja was a Republican on Bennett's College, and Deja wanted to do a have an activism fight or protest or something. Not fight, sorry, protest or rally. Do you think that would be encouraged as well, or is it only that it's the activism that is expected that is encouraged? I saw your nonverbals. I saw you look up like, I wonder.
Yeah.
But let me not put words in your mouth. You tell me.
No, you're fine. Honestly, I'm going to be honest. I don't think that they would let me do that. I think they would be like, take that down or stop. Because since we are HBCU and we are Black people, they think mind you, hey everyone, I am not a Republican. I want to. I'm not. But I'm just saying this, that if I was, they would not go for it, because that would make their the way that they look to the outsiders, they would make the outsiders look at them very interestingly, because we had made such a picture for Bennett to look like a liberal democratic campus, and that everyone can be who they are. And if we had someone that was a Republican protest for the party, it would kind of give side eyes. But I will say, I will say no. They probably will not let that happen, because even with A&T, when they had people come, there was issues. Yeah, I don't know if they would let that happen.
So let's take it away from Bennett for a hot second, Deja, because I do have some students who are Republican, right? I am an independent. I believe that each of us should be allowed to align with whatever policies, whatever issues we choose to align with, and not be boxed in. Those are just my very personal thoughts. But I know it's a very specific Republican student of mine who is a young woman who has shared with me that she doesn't feel comfortable speaking about her viewpoints out loud. Because even before she says what her viewpoints are, it's going to get shut down. Like, even before she says what it is. Do you think that is right of us to do? Like, the minute a Black person says they're Republican, we snicker like, oh my gosh, what is wrong with that person? Do you think that is right of us to do, Deja?
Absolutely not. It's not your place to judge someone for who they vote for. Honestly, if we're going to be honest, let's go back to high school. Let's go back to government class in high school, guys. Our vote matters, but the electoral college vote is the real people that matters. We have a say, but the electoral college is the ones that actually say it. And it doesn't matter if you're a Republican or independent. Me personally, I'm Green Party. I don't want to be. I want to be Switzerland. I don't want to deal with any of that. I don't want to be red or blue. I don't want to be elephant or donkey. Y'all have y'all stuff that y'all want to talk about and you want to like explain. Go ahead. But I will say, if you're going to talk about it, be open-minded to the other person's party, because not everyone has the same opinions, and there could be some things that we can learn from each other, because it's like Democrat and Republicans could sometimes merge together and have the same theories or philosophies, but it's just in ways that they just say it, or they just like write it down as. And I think that when it comes to politics, my hands is out of it.
I love you. I love you.
I
She's like,
try I try not to do.
I'm not doing this.
Uh-uh.
I hear you. I'm not doing this. So I asked you, what does Bennett College get right? Give me one thing. If you were just to get a tad bit critical, because constructive criticism is good for all of us. What does Bennett College get wrong? What could Bennett College do better?
Oh. Oh, there's so much there's so many things. But I think one thing that Bennett College should do is prioritize the people that've been here. Prioritize the students who are graduating, and also there needs to be more ways of help, because since we are so small, there's not a lot of availability or a lot of staff that can assist in classes or teach classes. And so you have people that can teach multiple types of classes while also have an administration job here. And I think that if there was more institutional help or staff help, that it could be better for all of us, because a battle for classes, trying to find a class at your own institution, insane. It's just insane.
I want to lean in ever so slightly into prioritize those who have been here. So we're not at Bennett College. What does that mean? When you say prioritize those who have been here, do you mind giving us a little bit on what you mean by that?
Yeah, so I'll take me as an example. I am the only chemistry major here, and I am the last chemistry major at Bennett College. They advertised to me back in 2020, matter of fact, not even 2020, 2019, the chemistry degree program and everything, like saying that people will be there to help you, and that your classes, like give you a list of classes that you could take. And I said yes to it. When I got here, for the first 2 years, everything was fine. But then when I got into junior year, classes was classes began to be a little unavailable on campus, um, due to the fact that it was higher education. So it would, like, my math classes I had to take online or at A&T. I had to take some classes over the summer so that I could get them out the way, so that I don't have to worry about them during the school year, because they might not have a teacher at that time to teach them. Even last year, I had to have a little back and forth with the administration about letting my chemistry professor, Dr. Sharon, teach the rest of my chemistry classes that I need to graduate. Because if I didn't, then I would have taken asynchronous courses with consortium, and that it's not all that it's cut up to be, because it's very stressful. And so, because of the fact that I was able to go back and forth and fight for myself to actually have those classes, now I'm able to, thank God. Um, but that I'm like a prime example of them not prioritizing the students that were here, because I am about to graduate, and people are still not, like, some of the seniors still don't have classes that they should have taken in freshman or sophomore year. How have you not taken Spanish 1? And now they canceled their Spanish 1 class that they need to graduate. It doesn't make sense. So
Got it.
yeah.
Got it. So I'm not defending either side. What I will say is that I'm going to guess that if we had an administrator share their viewpoints on this, there's probably a reason why, but I also
Mm-hmm.
hear you loud and clear that regardless of those reasons why, if I need a curriculum to graduate as a student in a school, that curriculum needs to be made available to me if you're going to offer that major. So Bennett College could handle that a little bit better from what I'm hearing you say. No worries. No
Yes.
worries. Deja, you are doing a lot in the sense that I look forward to seeing where Deja is going to land in the future. Is there something you feel like sharing with the audience that you are working on now, a project that you're excited about, something you're looking forward to that you kind of just want to share with us? I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, so I am on Bennett College's green team. Excuse me. It's an organization on campus that is about environmental activism and environmental justice and recycling and sustainability. I am the sustainability communications lead on the group, and I've been with it for about 2 years now. And I am really excited to I work on many projects with them. There's multiple projects happening with them, but the two major ones that we're trying to get going is a bridge mural, because the right over by, like, it's a bridge that trains go on, and under it there's a way to drive on it, and so we wanted to design a mural that can be put on the walls to say, "Hey, you're going into Bennett territory," so that it can beautify some part of the campus, because that's one of our goals. And the other big project is that we have finally finished building our raised garden beds so that we can grow organic fruits and vegetables. So I'm excited to get those propagations started in our greenhouse. And yeah, that's the major projects that I am excited about.
Deja, you are leaving a legacy at Bennett College that I hope Bennett College smiles upon someday. And as more fresh women come into Bennett College, that there are some fixes that Bennett College takes into consideration based on what you have shared. It is clear to me that with some of the frustrations, with some of the things that you would have hoped that Bennett could do better. You love Bennett College and you have loved your experience there. So leave our audience with one word or short phrase on why you love HBCUs.
I love HBCUs because of the familiarity.
I love HBCUs because of the familiarity. Deja Rogers, I have had a blast. Our pre-recording conversation, our podcast conversation that everybody is going to get to hear, and I get to chat with you a little bit more regardless. So to everybody watching and everybody listening, thank you for tuning into I Love My HBCU question mark. Again, I hope you have enjoyed this conversation with Deja Rogers, HBCU-Now of Bennett College, soon to be alum of Bennett College, who I hope either Quinta Brunson or Tracy Ellis Ross will bless as her commencement speaker. I also hope that I have earned, please, listen, I'm pleading with her, please. I also hope that I have earned the pleasure of you subscribing to I Love My HBCU question mark and liking this episode. Yours in HBCU love. See you next episode. Thank you so much, Deja.
Thank you.
You've been listening to I Love My HBCU question mark. Let's keep the conversation going as we share our stories and encourage more practical support of HBCUs, whilst of course holding each other accountable. Don't forget to follow and subscribe for the latest episodes. Until next time, love and lift your HBCU.